Welcome to the Collector's Catacomb, episode number 12. Tonight we got a special guest with us, Jason T. Smith from the Thrifting with the Boys Facebook group, and also Thrift Hunters on Spike TV. I'm going to talk about Tiki and probably some rum and some other things, learn how to make a proper Mai Tai, so it's going to be an awesome show tonight. My name is Erik Castle. I go by Tinker's Row Relics, Tinker's Row Retail. Collect militaria mostly, along with some other oddball stuff, and just really enjoy collecting. That's why I started this show and bring everybody back to their collecting roots before we all became resellers. So with that said, we'll move through my panel and let everybody get introduced to themselves. We don't have Elena with us here tonight. She's off doing some important reseller stuff. And also Brian is not with us again tonight, so neither is Sean Cooltoads. So we got Chris Carone filling in. The walking picker will be taking care of your comments tonight. So with that said, let's move to Dan, more old stuff, who through the magic of TV or something has turned into Tiki Dan tonight.
Yeah, I turned into Tiki Dan. I got the Hawaiian motif going behind me here because I love going there. So this is for Jason. I love your look. I love your stuff, and so I had to join in, man, playing my uke and sitting here waiting for things to happen. Oh, and I was trying to wear my coconut husk hat, but I can't wear it with the headset. So there we go. That's as close as I got. Thanks.
Awesome, Dan. Thanks for jumping on the bandwagon with us tonight. Then we'll move over to the Golden Finger Tiki Picker.
Oh,
Chad Pagel, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I know absolutely nothing about Tiki. I'm Chad, the Golden Finger Picker. You can find us here on YouTube, Golden Finger Picker, and over on Facebook group, the Reseller Society. Just love collecting as well as reselling, and I love the history of things. So, on to the next.
All right. And then we got Drew, the California Picker.
Hey guys,
it's Drew.
Not much. What's going on, Eric? It's Drew, the California Picker. I have a channel on YouTube called California Pickin', and I have a Facebook page called The California Picker, and I specialize in fine art, antiques, antiquities, and vintage collectibles. And I'm excited to talk about Tiki tonight. So it's cool. I got my ukulele out too as well.
Awesome, Drew. And then last but not least, from the panel, we got Chris Carone, the walking picker. Say hello, Chris, and go ahead and you can pimp your R show on Sunday and stuff as well.
Well, as everybody should know, again here I'm going to following Jason's channel. I'm walking picker. I have my own show on Sunday nights that Erik was a guest on called the R Show, Sunday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern. So come on over and take a look.
Awesome, Chris, and hey, we really appreciate you filling in for our others, for watching our comments and questions posted on YouTube. So if you got questions, throw them on YouTube. Chris will make sure that we see them and get them answered tonight. And then finally, we have our guest of the evening, Jason T. Smith. Jason, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell people a little bit about yourself, since we're a bunch of collectors and you know, of course, thrifters and stuff, but everybody might not know who you are yet.
Yeah, my name is Jason T. Smith, and I am half of Thrift Hunters, a TV show that's been on Spike for 2 seasons now. And I started a Facebook group about 4 years ago called Thrifting with the Boys, which led to the show. And basically, we just help people thrift and figure out what they found and get it sold. And I've been collecting my whole life. I mean, you can see behind me, this is just one tiny corner in my house, and my entire house looks just like this. So you can imagine like a Fridays, but you know, you walk into a Fridays, there's all the stuff hanging up on the walls. I can imagine it all Tiki, and that's my house.
That's awesome. And how long has it taken you to get to that point of Tiki Extreme?
The collection started in 2001, so it's been 14 years.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Well, what do you got to share with us tonight? I know you've got to have something cool.
Oh, yeah, I got a bunch of stuff. And I was going to try and show a little bit of everything, and I realized in my house there's too much. So if all goes well, if you ever want to have me back, we'll do another round. I'm going to focus mostly on vintage mugs, and I'll touch on the other parts of Tiki collecting, too. But just to give you a little bit of credentials, and I'm sure you guys all know because we all are collectors, there's a magazine for everything. So this is Tiki magazine, and this was the winter 2007 and 8 issue, and there's my house in it. I'm the centerfold.
Nice.
And I had a good collection back then. I have an amazing collection now, so I'm actually kind of sad that that was done before I really filled the house up. So I'm going to talk about Tiki mugs and share and tell you what to look for, because most people don't know, especially some here on the panel, and there is crazy money to be made in the Tiki mug world and all Tiki things. So I'm going to start by just showing you what most people will think is a Tiki mug. So this is a cool mug from the Hawaiian Room in New York City. Oops, I'm probably too bright there. But that's what most people think of as a Tiki mug. Kind of brown, got a face. But this is a nice collectible. This is probably like a $100, $150 mug. And then this is from the Valley High, which is in San Diego, still in business. This is a vintage mug. It's been going on forever. The little key thing about this mug is, back in the old days, the cold paint they used for the red washed off way too easily. So if you do find mugs and you see red paint on them, you found a good one, because the red paint tends to go away very quickly.
And the other thing that's on the vintage ones. So when you're saying vintage, is that how old is that?
Well, these are most of the stuff I'm going to show you is probably 50s and 60s.
Okay.
Now, was Tiki really big back in the 50s and 60s?
Yeah, I probably should have started with that. I kind of jumped right in. Let me back up. My bad. I had it all planned out, and I just got so excited I started showing mugs. So Don the Beachcomber.
Hey, we all understand the excitement, trust me.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was getting ready today. I'm like, I'll show this mug and this mug. So Don the Beachcomber created the first Tiki bar in Hollywood in 1933, and he you need like 4 elements to make a good Tiki bar. You need good decor, good music, good drinks, and the overall attitude. And he did that. And a couple years later, Trader Vic started up in Oakland, and the Tiki bar craze built a little bit. And then when all the GIs came home from the war, when they were in the South Pacific, they brought home all these tales of topless maidens, Polynesian maidens running around, and then the Tiki exploded. So there was Tiki bars and restaurants and hotels and motels and apartment buildings and bowling lanes. Everything was Tiki. And then it was killed by disco, like many, many things were. And Tiki died away, and then it was reborn in the late 90s with the second generation, us, who got into it and kind of brought it back to prominence. And new Tiki bars are opening to this day. A new one opened in Chicago a couple weeks ago. There's one here in Vegas. Rumor is there's a second one opening. So Tiki is alive and well.
Cool.
So there's your short history of Tiki. Oh, the other thing is you need good rum, and we'll get to the rum a little bit later on. But one of the things when you're looking at old mugs, and the stickers they must have made in the 50s are amazing. You're looking for the sticker on the bottom of the mug. And that sticker says OMC, which stands for Otagiri Mercantile Company. And I'm shocked that 6 years later the stickers are still there. So that's what you're looking for. If you
pretty good glue if the stickers are still stuck to a mug.
Unbelievable.
Now these Tiki shapes, they're emulating a totem pole, correct? Like a carving, a Polynesian carving in a coconut tree, correct?
Well, yeah. All those words are yes, except for the totem. Totem is more referred to as Native American or Pacific Northwest.
But do they stack these? Don't they have these stacked, or are they just in one big head?
No. If you see something stacked, that's going to be a Native American totem pole or a Pacific Northwest, Alaskan kind of thing.
But they were typically made out of trunks of coconut trees or palm trees.
Yep. And the other thing is you'll see a lot of mugs with lids. So this one had 2 straws, so you could get a cocktail for you and your friend. But make sure that when you're looking at, if you're at a friend's house with Tikis and you go to look at the bottom of it, see if there's a sticker, if there's a lid, make sure to take it off. And I say that because my mom and dad visited with one of their longtime friends from when they were young, and she brought her husband, so there was 4 7-year-olds running around my house for a week. And I walked past the wife, and she was Googling ceramic repair, Henderson, Nevada. And I said, hey, what you doing? She goes, oh, you're not going to be happy. I'm like, well, based on your Google search, and my house is full of ceramics, probably not. She had grabbed a mug that had a lid, didn't know it was a lid, went to look at it, and the lid smashed on the ground.
Yeah, someone asked me that earlier if you had kids running around because they seen your picture of wall of Tiki that I posted up, and they said you must not have kids in that house.
My kids are very short and four-legged. I have 3 pugs, and that's it. And here's one other mug that you would probably think of as Tiki. This is from the Islander, which was in Stockton, California. It's called a Mr. Smiley mug. And his teeth were meant to look a little dirty. But he also has a lid. But these are all these mugs I'm sharing. Most of them are worth a good bit of money.
They're very traditional though. These space mugs that you showed so far.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get into non-traditional, just so I wanted to give everybody a taste. So most people would see those and probably go, "Oh, that's a Tiki mug."
Like I'm surprised. I didn't know that would have been considered Tiki mug. That last one.
Oh well, yeah, I'm gonna get to some stuff where you're gonna be like, "What? That's Tiki?" So one of the things I like to show people in collecting is these 2 mugs are essentially the same mug. However, this one is worth about $4, and this one's worth about $400. So what you're looking for is this one comes from the Nugget in Reno, and it's been made for 50 years. It's still made today, I think. Trader Dick's. There's a billion of them, so they're not worth anything. This is from Bob Lee's Islander in Boston. Didn't last real long, but if you look up the pictures of it, it's absolutely was an amazing place. If you look this up on eBay, the last one sold, I think, for like $500 or something. I think that was 2 people beating each other up. I don't think it's worth normally $500, but it's a good $300. But they're essentially the same mug, $4 and $300.
And the only difference is because it's from that place, that bar.
Yeah, this one's a little nicer glaze, but yeah, it's the same mug, but it's from the bar, and that's what changes things up. So on that same note, there was a bar in San Francisco called Tiki Bob, and this is the mug from Tiki Bob's, and you'll see on the back it says Tiki Bob, San Francisco. A couple other bars back in the day basically just copied this mug and they used it for their bar, and all Tiki Bobs are worth at least $100. But the rare one, and I don't have one, so one of my holy grails, when Elvis Presley's Blue Hawaii debuted, they showed a special showing to, I think, theater owners, and they made 500 of this that said Elvis Presley Blue Hawaii debut.
Oh, wow.
And there's not 500 in existence today. When those show up, that usually sells in like the $500 to $700 range.
Wow.
So same mug, but it says Blue Hawaii Elvis Presley on the side.
So it's not even about the price, it's just about finding one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've got 10 holy grails. I only have like 2. I still have 8 that I'm dying for, so I could always pay retail, but that's no fun.
Yeah, that's true. If you got the money, you can always find something. Hey, Julie says she loves the hat, Jason.
Oh, my little fez. Thank you. My little mermaid fez.
Yeah. Apparently that's popular. That and the pirate picker says he lives in Vegas and goes to Frankie's Tiki Room all the time. Hopefully he's going to run into you.
We were just there 2 nights ago with a whole load of people. People were in town for the ASD convention, the wholesale convention. So we filled up Frankie's 2 nights ago and drank till we couldn't see straight.
So if somebody's in Vegas, are you open to get a hold of people or let people get a hold of you? I mean, is there a place you frequent quite a bit that they could run into you at? Oh, yeah, Frankie's. Usually once a week, and there's some weeks I'm there 3-4 times. All right, cool. So yeah, if you're in Vegas, go check out Frankie's, and you can run into Jason there. And then Kathleen Brown wants to know if you have any Trader Vic's Tiki mugs. I have a whole bunch of Trader Vic's, and I didn't grab any for the show and tell today. I have great ones, but there was a point where I'm looking at. I have 800 mugs, so there was a point when I'm looking at them going, okay, what should be the most fun and or educational? So yeah, I have a whole Trader Vic's display. We're over in our group now, right? over in the CATACOMB?
Yeah.
Can you post a couple up there when you get a chance?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go, Kathleen. So he'll post a few over in the group. Just watch for him.
So the other thing is the moai. So this is the Easter Island tiki, and what I wanted to show you is there's tons of moai mugs. This one was kind of a generic one, but it's from the 50s or 60s. It was used at a bar, no imprint on it. But they also had a homemade mug. Duncan did a bunch of mugs in the late 60s, early 70s. So people were making mugs at their house, and us collectors love the crazy one. So here's from a Duncan mold, and somebody decided to do a little green, white, and brown action on this one.
Now, would that be? I'd seen something called drip glazing. Is that what that is?
Kind of. That, yeah, it's a little bit. But some people are very creative. So this guy did his in brown, and if you can see, a little black flake, so it kind of gave it like a wood grain.
Huh.
And then my all-time favorite, red, white, and blue.
There you go.
Nice.
So even the homemade Dunkin' mugs from the 70s are good collectibles, especially if somebody took some time to put some real artistic talent into it. All right, so we're going to move on to other kinds of tiki mugs. This was from the Tonga Room. It's in San Francisco. If you go to San Francisco, the bar's still there. The drinks are horrible, so order a beer. But the decor and the atmosphere is insane. It's in the basement. They had an Olympic-sized pool down there. The pool's still there. There's a boat. There's a boat on it, and there's grass huts all around the pool. And then, like every hour, it rains. The boat comes out. There's a band on the boat. It plays. It's an amazing place to see. Just don't expect a good drink there, sadly. But here's a vintage mug. So basically, it's a double coconut mug. So you'll see tons of coconut mugs from tiki bars. And usually they will have right on where it's from.
So for the most part, the majority of the tiki mugs are going to all be from a tiki bar, so they'll have some sort of advertising on them.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll get to that in a second.
Are there any? Let me just ask you quick. Are there any? Like some of these are really not that old, right? It's just
everything I've shown you is, like I said, is probably from the 50s and 60s.
Okay. Is there anything like in the our tiki mugs that are new? From still maybe old bars, but new ones. Are they worth anything just because of where they're from?
Oh yeah, and I'll actually get to that. But everything behind me here, these are all modern mugs. The top shelf is actually all from Frankie's Tiki Bar, the Vegas Tiki Bar.
Yeah.
And as you go down the shelves, it's different artists per shelf.
Okay.
So these are all, everything back here is a modern mug.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And then Michael Baumberger wants to know that the Dunkin' mugs, they were all being made by people at home?
Yeah. Yeah, you could buy your little, and they weren't just tiki mugs. Dunkin' made a bunch of molds, but of course, I'm only in search of the tiki ones. And most people just made them brown, and those are kind of boring. But when you find the green and brown ones and the red, white, and blue ones, that's when I get excited, because people are like, people were very creative, so you're looking for the creative ones.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I have a lot of ceramics from my grandmother that she did at home. She was big into ceramics, probably back in like the 80s. And so that's what it was a mold that they sold for the tiki mug.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, have you ever found that mold?
I've never found the mold. I would love to find the mold. I wouldn't be creative enough to do it, but I would love to find the mold.
Do you have any molds for tiki mugs?
I do not.
Any kind of mold? Oh, okay.
No. Plenty of mugs, but no molds.
Yeah.
Well, there's the bolo for everybody.
Yeah.
Find a mold. Sell it to Jason.
So here's one of the holy grails for most mug collectors. This is called the Maikai drum. It is a huge mug.
Yeah.
So here's the moai I just had, and you can see.
Oh my gosh!
It is huge. This cocktail had to be kick your ass amazing. And the handle's a bird. It's a pretty amazing. But this mug, if you happen to ever find it or sell it, it's like a $600 mug.
Wow.
So the bigger the better when it comes to tiki mugs.
Yes, somewhat. Also, the shorter lived. So if a bar or restaurant lasted like a month or two, that's when it's like big money. Because
Right.
you know like the Trader Dick's in Reno has been going on for 50 years. They've been making mugs forever. So it's not as exciting. A bar opens, closes in a couple months, and here's a prime example. This is a bitchin' tiki mug. It looks like a cauldron.
Oh, wow.
And it was at the Mauna Loa in Detroit, and they spent, and this is back in the late or early 60s, they spent like $8 million to build this restaurant. But guess what happens in Detroit, like in Cleveland where I'm from? The snow comes, and people weren't venturing to Detroit in the winter, and so they didn't last but maybe 6 months. So if you find their mugs, because they spent a ton of money, this is an amazing mug.
Cool.
That is cool. I would pick that up not even knowing it's tiki.
Yeah. Ugh. Now, one of the all-time greats was Stephen Crane. He built the luau. He was like kind of the third guy. So it was Don the Beachcomber, Trader Vic, then Stephen Crane. He was married to actress Lana Turner, and he built the hot spot in Beverly Hills to go to called the luau. And his mugs were insane. He went colorful instead of brown. So I'm going to run through his mugs, and most people would not see this and go tiki. They'd be like, "What is this freakiness?"
Yeah. But it looks cool. I like that.
So this was one of our first Holy Grails. My wife found it. Now I'm a smart man. I'm 6'5", and my wife is 5'1". So when we go antiquing, I go from middle shelf up. She goes middle shelf down. So I already walked past this booth, and she goes, "Hey!" And I turn around, and she's holding this above her head, and this is one of Steve Crane's, and it was marked Clown Mug, $10.
Clown mug.
And this usually sells for $100. So. You know, somebody didn't know what they had. But then he, so I showed you this little tiny coconut bowl. He made a giant one. It looks like it still had the meat in it. And these were impressive. This had a nice sized drink in it. And then one of my other holy grails from him was called the Bird Bowl. So you would go to tiki bars and get a bowl and where it would have a big cocktail, and your friends would all share with you at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Or not.
It's like a bucket.
And the mug was complimentary, correct? After the
Yeah, nowadays, it was built into the price back then, but nowadays you can still get the mugs. Like all these Frankie ones, you can buy the drink, you pay extra to get the mug, but if you get the mug and the drink together, it's actually a discounted rate as opposed to buying a drink and a mug separately. And then he also had this really nice 3 tiki feathered tiki bowl.
Wow.
Look at that.
That thing is really deep. I mean, that's.
And then this is his war drum tiki mug, but this is a little bit smaller than the Maikai one. And then he didn't stop there. All the plates that were on the table when you were dining were also all branded.
Wow.
So you're looking for plates. Wow. You're looking for. Oh, and tiki restaurants were always Polynesian or Cantonese or Chinese food. So you would typically be eating Chinese food, so you're drinking your little hot tea.
Yeah.
And then the bowl had it too. So, he really went all out. And then also salt and pepper shakers. So you're also looking in the salt and pepper shaker section when you're collecting.
Yeah.
And then
Well, he really created quite the line of collectibles, huh?
Yep, and these were I meant to show these. These are from the Mauna Loa in Detroit, so they did drums instead of tikis. Now, Steve Crane did so well that Sheraton called him and said, "Hey, can you make kind of a budget version of the luau? We're going to put it in every Sheraton in the country." And they did. They put in, not every, but a lot. And so they also made, but he didn't go as extravagant on the mugs, but he made mugs for the Sheratons too.
Wow.
So all through North America, you could go on vacation, and you could be in like Cleveland and go down to the lobby, and the lobby bar was a Steve Crane Kontiki Ports.
That is crazy.
And like the typical Waffle House, you walk out with the Waffle House cup. Is that what happened?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I did bring one Trader Vic's tiki mug to show you how nutty it gets. This is called the Big Shot, and if you look, it looks like a spent shotgun shell.
Yeah.
But this is a tiki mug.
Wow.
And it says Big Shot Trader Vic's on the bottom there. Big Shot.
Nice. So, Rainbow Says Sales says, what part of the country is the honey hole for tiki mugs?
I'm going to piss off a couple of my buddies, but it's San Diego.
Woohoo! Start looking.
San Diego
There you go,
produces
Tiki
the
man.
most
Get on it.
used.
That's where I'm at. I'm in that area. I'm gonna start going to the tiki bars. Or I see. You know what's funny? I do see them in thrift stores and garage sales. I just never. I mean, I like it. I just never gravitated that way. You know, I probably passed up some real good ones though. Now I'm gonna be looking.
Well, I'm going to show you one in a second here that you're going to be like, oh my God, that's the most boring mug ever, and it's the one that's worth the most money in my collection.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, we don't always delve into costs and values and all that, but I mean, if there's people collecting it, it's got value. That's what it comes down to.
And so here's my other
it doesn't
tip.
matter.
Sorry, Eric, didn't mean to cut you off there.
That's all right. No, I was just saying it doesn't matter what it is. It could be the most ridiculous item in the world. If there's a collector for it, it's obviously got some value to it because somebody wants it. So,
and my other tip is if you go thrifting, you usually find them in the vase section.
Huh.
Thrift store employees think these are vases.
Nice.
So
that's probably a hell of a tip. Well, Julie says that, oh my, 800 mugs in the house. She's speechless.
Yeah, I counted, and that's just the mugs. You know, I have everything. I got carved tikis, art, all kinds of stuff. And I just, I was curious how big my collection has grown, so I just counted the stuff in my dining room. And that's where most of my mugs are. That's where that picture came from. And just the dining room, there's 600 items.
That is crazy.
So one of the
I
things,
would have quite the insurance policy on all that.
Yeah.
Imagine fire damage would wreak havoc.
Well, I got disconnected for a couple of minutes. Is everybody else in your household, wife, dogs, is everybody okay with your collection taking over the entire house?
well, it is luckily it is our collection, so my wife loves it just as much as I do.
But that'll work.
Do the pugs have tiki caves that they live in?
Kind of actually. They have cages, but they're all covered by tiki blankets. So yeah, actually they do. So one of the things that us collectors look for is menus, because old tiki menus, besides being cool and having the artwork, is they show you what mug you would get with what drink. So this is how we base our collections on. We're looking for these mugs, and there are some menus where we see mugs that none of us have ever found. And so, like, they showed you if you get this drink, it comes in this bowl. And so my friend Sabu coined the term crypto mugs. Like, they're impossible to find. Well, we've all started to find a few here and there. And my mom found one of the ultimate crypto mugs. She was at an garage sale, walked up to a table of stuff, felt her toe, kicked something over, looked down. She had just knocked over 2 tiki mugs, picked them up, sent me a picture. I said, holy shit, that is one of the most awesome mugs. She talked the lady down to $1.50 for the pair. Now think of all the intricate and gorgeous mugs I've showed you, and now I'm going to show you one of the most boring mugs I own. It says South Pacific Keg of Rum. It looks like a hobbyist mug. There's nothing on the back, and we're in a little bit of a lull right now in tiki mugs. But back when this was first acquired, I probably could have sold it for $800 to $1,000.
Oh, so
Wow.
So what's making that special?
It's nobody had ever seen one. My mom was the first, since we all started recollecting in the 90s. My mom was the first to find 2. Since then, 2 others have been found. So of all the mugs and all the collectors, we know of about 4 right now.
Wow.
That is crazy. So is the first bar that is in Oakland still there? Maureen, the free pile picker, wants to know.
So yeah, so Down the Beachcombers opened in Hollywood, and Trader Vic's opened in Oakland. So the original Oakland one isn't there, but the one in Emeryville is still there, and that's the longest still operating Trader Vic's.
Wow. And can tiki mugs without maker's marks still be valuable? Mr. Dino Dump wants to know.
Yeah, but you definitely want the maker's mark. And so, like, when I was about to show you, it was made by Hoffman Pottery. So you definitely want to see that stamp. And they also served coffee tiki drinks and dessert drinks. So this was a little coffee drink for after dinner. But this is a little tiny mug. But this is a hard find and very expensive. This one's from the Kahiki, and the Kahiki was a palace of all tikiness in Columbus, Ohio.
So are the fakers and con artists on the tiki movement yet and reproducing some of these ones?
Yeah, I'm actually going to show you a mug from some friends of mine. There's two modern mug companies. Well, there's tons of mug makers, but there's two major companies. Tiki Farm, who makes all the Frankie's mugs, and Monk Tiki, who are out of Portland, Oregon. They make custom low-run mugs, and they make awesome, awesome mugs. Somebody in China started copying their mugs and making molds and selling them, and they would take off where it says Monk Tiki on the bottom. So to talk about modern mugs, this is one of the most sought-after modern mugs made by Monk Tiki. They only sold 120, and they hand number each of their mugs.
Oh, wow.
And this is Trader Mort's is a tiki liquor store still in business in San Diego. It's been in business for like 60 years. And this mug is highly, highly sought after. I just lucked out and traded a friend for another mug.
Okay, I'll be looking for that one.
And then also in modern, there was a tiki bar opened 2 years ago in Chicago called Three Dots and a Dash. And they have made amazing mugs, amazing cocktail stirs, and they've been retiring their mugs. So here is the sea urchin mug they made. And it's already been discontinued. And this mug that was new for 20 now sells for about 100. Very quickly. So that was only like a year ago they stopped making it, or not even, and now it's risen in price quite a bit.
So this is like the Starbucks of tiki.
Yeah.
Where they make mugs and then retire them, and then the prices go through the roof.
Yeah, the owner of Frankie's does it right. At any given time, he has a minimum of 8 mugs. He'll change the color of them, or he'll switch them out completely, retire them. He does an anniversary mug every year. So us nerdy collectors have to have, all they changed was the lettering from red to green. I gotta have both.
Right. I mean, that's the beauty of being a collector,
Oh, absolutely.
Well, Julie noticed that you were drinking from a plain glass.
Oh,
so
it's not plain. Here, I'll show you.
Oh. Well, she wants to know: are they for display only?
Most of my mugs are,
them, or just special occasions.
Most of my mugs are, and I use the lesser tiki mugs when we have parties, because if my drunk friends break those, I don't care. But when you're a nerdy tiki collector, you contact one of your friends who's an artist in the world of tiki and have them design a logo for your bar. So we call our bar the Den of Sin, and my buddy Doug Horn's a big-time tiki artist. So this is the logo we came up with. So it's a devil tiki, and it's the old school Vegas skyline.
Awesome.
And actually, this glass is a Den of Sin glass.
Oh, cool. All right.
Nice. I actually have some old Stardust chips, like the silver chips that they had.
Oh, the Aku Aku?
Stardust Casino, yeah.
Yep, I got a bunch of those. And I've also had another friend start making a line of rum jugs I'm going to be selling.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
So what is what is the spade? The significance behind the spade in your logo there?
We did Den of Sin, and so we were thinking about gambling and stuff. So I hadn't thought of that, but when he was making the logo, he put the word "of" in a spade between Den and Sin.
Okay, so that's to connect it to Vegas with the gambling.
Yep.
Cool.
So that's the mugs I wanted to share, and I know you guys usually go a half hour with your guests, so I don't want to take up all the time, but I do have the other little components if you want to see a couple other things like music and shirts and stuff.
Well, yeah, and we got to get to the Mai Tai.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll buzz through the rest. But music plays a key part in every tiki bar, always has. The music you should be hearing, it's called Exotica. It's a very small niche genre that will probably closely relate to jazz. You'll hear a lot of worldly percussion. You'll hear a lot of bird calls. And the big three artists back in the day were Martin Denny, Les Baxter, and Arthur Lyman. And so this is the album and song you should play. Quiet Village is the tiki song. So The music is also very collectible. We have hundreds of Hawaiian records, and two of the biggest ones, and I don't have them on vinyl yet. I do have CDs of them. This is called Eden's Island by Eden the Bez. He kind of looks like a hippie. Doesn't really fit into the Tiki mold, but he made it on a Exotica record. If you find it on vinyl, it's like a $100 record. And then Frank Hunter made White Goddess, and that's like a $200 record, $150 record.
There you go, Chad. You're our record man in the group.
Yeah, but typically, I mean, as a record collector, you as a Hawaiian music, you have it made because you can pick Hawaiian music up. I mean, people won't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. But I mean, some of the stuff is valuable, but yeah, it's unique.
And then of course, you got to have the clothes. And I bought a whole collection of Tiki shirts, and this was one of the most amazing shirts. I had it at an event. I have it priced at $150. I'm gonna throw it up online soon. It's a uniform shirt, and I'll show you what uniform is for. It was a uniform for, I'm guessing, a driver, and the logo is very subtle, so let me find the best one here. There we go. So if I can get it in there. Can you see it? Olympia beer.
Up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
There you go. There you go.
Out of the great Northwest.
Wow.
So if you find these old shirts that the uniform drivers would wear, Hawaiian shirts, they go for crazy money. And I got this for like $3.
Cool.
And the last thing I wanted to show you before we got into Mai Tai, and I was telling Erik about this, my mom collects as much Tiki as I do, and always finds good stuff, sends me a lot of it. She was buying a bunch of Tiki stuff one day. She saw this in a display case, and went to ask the lady about it, and the lady said, "Oh, you're buying so much, you can just have it." So my mom, who loves her baby boy dearly, sent it over to me, and it was a sorority trip to Hawaii back in the early 50s, and they kept all their stuff. So here's a picture of the sorority getting on the Pan Am plane, and it was the Beta Sigma Phi Ramble to Hawaii. They're all wearing their Hawaiian dresses. A little lobby party. They got their room assignments. They've got the maps. This was before Hawaii was a state. And they went to Don the Beachcombers in Waikiki, and this is the little thing they got saying, "Welcome to Don's." And then each girl got her own with her name in it. And it was a little menu for the night. So this was 1953, September 6th. And there's a little menu. So this is just a whole thing full of pictures and clippings and their pictures after the vacation. And I'm guessing these are the chaperones.
They look like they've been drinking too many Mai Tais.
Yeah. So just an amazing find, and especially for the shop owner, just go to my mom. Here you go.
Yeah, no. When we talked about that, I mean, that was just it blew my mind. I mean, I'm definitely, I love paper and photos. I know Dan does as well. And, you know, to find from Dan the Beachcombers, or is it Dan? What was the name of it? Don the Beachcombers from the early 50s is just, that's just wild. And with the photos and, I don't know, that'd be something I would pick up. I'm sure Dan would pick it up too.
Did you hear me? Okay. My bar back's going to grab the ice, and I'll get the cocktail made up, and then anybody's got any questions? Oh, I also have some giveaways. I don't know how you do the giveaways, but I have some giveaways.
Yeah, let's run through these comments and questions real quick. We really got a lot of people tuning in tonight, which is awesome. I really appreciate all the viewers. Let's see, what else do we got here? So Tiki toothpick holders, are they worth holding on to, or anything other Tiki type of items other than mugs? Laura Lee wants to know.
Yeah, so I showed you salt and pepper shakers, cocktail stirs for sure from the different old school bars, and like with a bunch of collectors, no matter what you're into, if you can find matchbooks. So this is from the Tahitian Lanai in Waikiki. This is from the Tongolei in Malibu. And this is from the Cocoa Palms in Kauai.
Okay, cool. Some matchbooks. Awesome. So definitely anything Tiki's worth holding on to.
Will you grab me that book
Then,
right there?
Resale Ronin, which is Paul from the Reseller Wake Up. Great show. He does it during the week in the mornings. He wants to know if he could post stuff on your group, anything that looks like a Tiki mug. Is that cool?
Yes, and I'll do you guys one better. Who's ever listening, get a pen and paper, and I'll give you my email address. If you're in a restaurant, if you're in a thrift store, and you find something you think is Tiki, I can't read the group all day long, but I do look at every email that comes in, whether I'm at my desk or driving somewhere. You find something, you email me a picture, I will tell you within 2 minutes yes or no, and then when you get home, I'll help you write your title for you.
Hey, there you go. Oh, I'll do that. That's great, Jason. And Paul's a good dude. I don't know, maybe he'll have to look at getting you woke up early in the morning to get on his show, because I know he's an early riser out on the West Coast. So
here's my email address. Ready? Write it down. Get a piece of paper, chalk, whatever you got. It is TikiPug, TIKIPUG, because I like tikis and I like pugs, at gmail.com. Very easy. All right, we're going to make a cocktail, and then I'll let you guys do what you normally do. Trader Vic invented the Mai Tai. Don claimed he did. I know Vic did. I'm not doing Trader Vic's traditional Mai Tai. I'm making a different one that has some not traditional ingredients. I did have a Mai Tai snob at my house on Saturday night. She loved it so much she got a second one. So a friend of ours, Beach Bum Barry, started writing cocktail recipe books about Tiki drinks. Tiki drinks were hidden recipes. He's taken a long time and built a career out of figuring out the recipes. So this was from the surf room in the Royal Hawaiian, which the Royal Hawaiian's still there. It's on Waikiki Beach. The surf room is long gone, but this was their version of the Mai Tai. So the first, I'm going to turn this a little bit. You're probably not going to see me much, but you'll see me making the drink. First thing you need is a good glass of crushed ice, and make sure you use your Home Bar logo glass, as always. And we are going to be using 3 rums. And being the collector, I put some of my rums that I use on a normal basis in the stuff I find at thrift stores. So I got my little diver's helmet here. So the first rum is a dark Jamaican rum. You do 1 ounce, and I'm doing 1 ounce of Smith & Cross. You can use Myers. Myers is pretty easy to find. Smith & Cross, not so easy to find, but much yummier. Then you do 1 ounce of light Puerto Rican rum. Bacardi's horrible. I use Cruzan.
Yes, Cruzan is pretty good.
Way smoother. And then the last one, which is a little tougher to find, is called Demerara rum. And this is Lemon Heart, and they don't make it anymore. Very sad. This is what we all loved. But to go along with the collecting, I also like to buy a lot of booze at estate sales. And here's some old Lemon Heart that I still haven't cracked yet. So my bar is full of treasures found at estate sales in the booze category.
So there's even collecting in the rum area then.
Absolutely. So when we have Tiki friends come over who are into rum too, they'll look through the bar and go, "Oh my God, you got that old one and that old one and that old."
Is it legal to sell alcohol at estate sales?
Oh, probably not. And they usually sell it cheap so it goes quick, and then they don't have to worry about it. Like one of my best ones was they were selling every bottle for $1.50.
They say they're selling. They sell it for the bottle, not the
exactly.
contents.
That's what it is.
Because I bought these giant Italian wine bottles that way.
All right, so you got 3 ounces of rum right here.
Jeez.
Then, and these are only 1/4 ounce pours, and you're going to think, what are you going to do with a 1/4 ounce? But you actually can taste it. It's just all you need. Orange Curacao is the first 1/4 ounce you need. The second thing is what you couldn't find, orgeat, which is an almond syrup. So another 1/4 ounce of that.
I spent the last 3 days looking for it and could not find it in North Carolina or South Carolina.
And then the last 1/4 ounce is rock candy syrup, and any will do. You don't have to be fancy. And then half an ounce of fresh lime juice. I'd already pre-squeezed it. I keep my lime juice in a sippy cup because it's easy to pour. I got it at Kmart for 88 cents. So we'll put that in. And then this is where it definitely differs from the normal. They use 1 ounce of orange juice and 1 ounce of pineapple, and I make my life easy. I've got the pineapple orange juice from Dole.
Oh, mixed already.
Yeah, so 2 ounces of that. That's where typically, if you go to Hawaii now and their Mai Tai has juice in it, it's a crappy Mai Tai. This one, because of everything else in it and the balance, it actually tastes really good. So that's all our ingredients, and now you got to give it a good vigorously shake because you need a good frost on your glass. That's probably really loud, isn't it?
Hey, you're making a Mai Tai. Don't worry about it.
And then if all was poured well, the pour should go right to the top of the glass and almost spill over. And there we go.
Talk about a science.
And then you always need a little accoutrement, so because I'm the denizen, we have little devils to hang on your drink. And then you have to have the garnish. You got to have the pineapple and the cherries, and then there's our Mai Tai.
Cool. All right.
So, cheers.
Awesome.
With my bottle of water.
That is yummy.
Sorry, I only had a dark and stormy tonight, so I could not find the syrup. That is for sure.
Well, when you get to Vegas, I'll make you one. I promise.
Hey, you never know. I'm going to try to piggyback off my brother one of these times because he comes out there about 4 or 5 times a year, and
okay.
I'm bound to determine if I can convince my wife. I don't know. Maybe you'll need a caller, but yeah, I definitely need to go out to Vegas.
I'll call her. I'll smooth it over.
We got finished with Seattle in December, and then I just came back from Kentucky from a big militaria show. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see what I can work out. But let's see what other comments we got out here. Katie Patton, that's one of our biggest fans. She says, "No ukulele tonight."
I have ukes all over the house. I don't have any within reach right now.
That's for you, Katie.
Yeah, I got mine
That's
too.
true.
I was playing for her.
And we got what is it? Chewbacca Cataboo Berry. He wants to know, how about the album Under the Skies of Haiti?
Jeez, I don't know if I know that one. Under the Skies of Haiti. I'm going to Google it real quick.
Stump the expert.
Well, Haiti isn't really Tiki, so that's why. But it could be Exotica.
Yeah.
I'll see.
He says they have one sealed. So yeah.
Huh. I'll have to look that up because yeah, I don't know that. Funny enough, one of the all-time sought-after Exotica albums actually has the worst music ever on it, but where it came from, once again, is what makes it collectible. There used to be this little walkthrough in Florida called the Tiki Gardens, and this couple owned this property. They built all the different Polynesian areas, and you paid $10 to walk through it, and in their gift shop, they sold a record from there, and they called it Exotica, but it's crappy music, but the record will sell for $300 every day of the week, just to have the cover.
Well, Scotty Allen Day says this was the most educating show. Never had any idea how many tiki mugs there are.
And that is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I have 800, and between modern and vintage, I mean, there's probably 10,000 at least.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing. It's like I consider myself an experienced picker, an experienced reseller, but still know, absolutely, I know enough to get me in trouble now because you just fed me just enough to probably.
Hey, look, I am your little angel. You just keep my email on your phone. You send me a picture. And, people send me pictures all the time. They don't say, hey, it's Sue. I met you in your group. They don't even send their name. I just write them back. Here's what you need to know. That's a yes or no. Oh, and don't forget, this is the most important part if you take me up on my offer. Lead with the price. I am shocked there were people who go, should I buy this, and never tell me how much.
But yeah, you got to answer them back.
Right, so you're just straightforward about it. I mean, you're not out looking to try to make a buck off everybody. You're just happy other people are finding it.
Oh yeah, I don't charge for my help. I'd rather. Well, here's the. Here I'll tell you a secret. Lean in. here's the underlying reason. If it's something I need, I'm going to buy it first. I know you're paying $2. I will pay you handsomely, but if it's something I need, I'll be getting the first dibs then.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
There you go.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, hell, I bought a piece of militaria off of Chad, and I paid him a regular price for it, you know. But he sent me pictures. It was like, hey, what's up with this? And I told him what I found and what I saw, and then we came up with a price, and boom, I have a cool piece of my collection.
Yeah, you know? I'll tell you, there's a couple of my Tiki friends who hate me because when I started Thrifting with the Boys, I wanted to teach a couple hundred people how to look for Tiki mugs, thinking I'd have a leg up. And now I have tens of thousands looking for them. I got a leg up on all my Tiki friends forever. I have an army looking.
There you go.
Right.
I built a better mousetrap, you know.
So Bob Stilt says, just because it's from Hawaii, is it considered Tiki, or is it only a novelty of the Tiki bar on the mainland?
No, so it's actually called Polynesian Pop, and it's kind of like, you know, so Tikis are real. They are the Polynesian gods. So and they're different versions all the way from Hawaii to Fiji to Tonga, all the way down to the Easter Island. But what the main collectibles are from are the basically bastardized version of Tiki, so Polynesian Pop. So you'll find some stuff from Hawaii, but I would say the majority is from the mainland.
Probably.
All right, and then on to our last one here from the Pirate Picker. He says, Jason, I sold an orange Halloween Frankenstein mug from Frankie's for $85. Obviously, you know I paid $30 for it, haha. And here we go. What do
you
we
mean
got?
This one? Yes, I bought quite a few, and I sold my last one. I was asking about that, and a guy offered me $66.60, so I had to sell it for $666. I just had to.
All right, and then Jesse Jackson says, is it good to use the word Tiki in my Hawaiian shirt eBay listing?
I would say yes and no. I'll be more vague when I'm using Tiki. Like, if there's a grass hut, I'll call it a Tiki hut. But if there is nothing at all remotely Tiki about the shirt, like the one I'm wearing, it's just floral, really. And I really wouldn't throw Tiki in there. Now, what I would do if you're selling shirts, all Hawaiians wear Hawaiian shirts, but they call them aloha shirts. So always fit the word aloha in your title. Because even if they have a job where they do dress up a little bit, everybody in Hawaii wears aloha shirts on Friday.
Yep.
Nice. There you go. Well, do you got anything to end it with, Jason? We're at about that time where we're going to move on to the panel. I know.
I got two prizes. So I don't know how you normally pick prizes.
You just give them to me.
Go ahead and announce them. I think what we'll do is we'll do it off the comments after the show.
All right, so I got two. So you tell me who the winners are, but I'm going to give away a vintage mug. Fairly common, but this one is from a specific place. If you want to start your Tiki mug collection, here's your first one. If you want to sell it, you can probably get like $25-30 for it. And I won't be upset if you sell it. But I found about 8 of these together, so I'll send one of those, and I'll also send one of my Dennis sunglasses.
Hey, all right.
Awesome. Well, then what we'll do is after the show's over, the video will post to YouTube and all that good stuff. So leave a comment, and what I'll do is I'll load the numbers into a random, picker or whatever, and I'll pick 2 random numbers out, and we'll announce it on the next show. So you've got to make that comment by the end of the, frickin' midnight on Wednesdays. And I'll pick it on next Thursday morning, and I'll announce it on my next show. So that's how we'll work that, and then Jason will send you, the first person we pick will get the vintage glass, the second person we pick will get the Denison glass. So that's awesome, Jason. We really appreciate the giveaways. People love that shit for some reason.
Absolutely. Hey, I love when I win stuff.
Hey, I do too. I mean, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen always in life,
And I'm sure you can tell I'm very passionate about my collection. So if I can help somebody either A, get into it, or B, make money from it, I'm excited by that.
Right, and we'll definitely get you on again. We've got several guys that have some really massive collections that we need to recycle through the show so we can see some other pieces of it. But in the meantime, thank you again, Jason. I hope you hang out with us the rest of the time. I don't know how much time you got tonight, but we'll probably do an after-show hangout if you're going to stick around with us. And I'll post that in the Collector's Catacomb over on the Reseller Society. And then, Jason, if you don't mind, I'll post it over on your group as well.
Absolutely.
If people want to jump in the hangout after the show and talk a little bit of Tiki. So I guess right now we'll move on to Dan. Since we got Tiki Dan, we'll keep it moving.
Yeah, well, yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, Jason. This is fun. I'm an avid Hawaii visitor, and I don't collect a lot of stuff from there. Every time I go there, I go picking over there. It's really hard to find cool things because it's not like here. Some of their thrift stores, everything they have is isolated on the island, and so they don't like giving things away, right? It's like you give it to your relatives, it goes to family before it gets to an estate sale or before it goes anywhere, so it's hard to find anything. Anyhow, so I had a great find last week. Let me get it. I was at a auction and came across, one of the things that came up for bid was this box of movies. I was going through the movies and noticing that all of them were dated beginning from like 1933 all the way to 1939. A couple in here that I picked out. I've had them sitting for this week, and last night I finally opened them up and started looking at them. And one of the cool things that I found about it, these are all black and white. They're from a person who lived in Oregon, and but they're mailed to San Francisco. They seem to be. I watched about 8 of them, and they were from between San Francisco and Oregon in that area. So anyhow, it was cool. The very first one I opened, I found a treasure, a piece of history that I just thought was the coolest thing because I very rarely find something like that in home movies. Home movies, you're looking at kids at Christmas, and you're looking at grandma and kids playing and whatever. This is really a cool thing. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to share my screen since I just learned how to do this, and I am going to go here. I'll give it a second to show up here for everybody. I'm just going to go through it really quick. These little reels were only they're only like 4 minutes per reel. This particular one starts off. It starts off with these guys that are hunters. Now there's this flash that you see is a frame rate flash. I just basically held my cell phone camera in front of the screen, in front of a screen, and captured this, and so the sync rate is not the same on the camera as it is what the projector is. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to fix that and be able to show these things. But anyhow, so these guys, this is May. This was May of 1937. These guys are in Northern California, I believe, by the looks of those things. So this is how it starts off. It's only about 4 minutes. I'm going to try to skip along here, and so you don't have to watch some of this. But these are hunters. They just got a couple of deers, and they're doing their thing, shaking hands.
Even though it's black and white, you can actually see some color in there.
Yeah, a lot of it. What you're seeing some brown spots. The film was probably starting to deteriorate a little, and there's some brown circles.
But look, the horse is brown. Look at that.
Well, it's brown. It has kind of a sepia tinge to the film. So here's where it got cool. You see what this is?
The San Francisco Bridge.
That's the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
And look here, this is an old 1937 bulldozer, and there's all this construction equipment. So I did a little research and found out that the Golden Gate Bridge was actually started construction in 1933. They opened it to the public on May of 1937. This film was dated July 1937, but the date is a processing date, so it was when it was actually developed and sent to the guy. So what this is opening day at the Golden Gate Bridge, when they opened it to the public for the first time in May of 1937.
It doesn't look like it's done. There's still a lot of dirt.
Exactly. There's piles of dirt. There's construction equipment sitting around, and that's San Francisco Bay. And these are like just people looking around, you know. And if you look, it's kind of hard to see in here. Off to the right, you'll see the bridge out in the background.
Yeah.
Just barely. It had a light leak. Some of the light was leaking in the camera. It was an old camera. Then there's this boat sitting. It's kind of on the rocks there. So sitting on got beached or something.
Yeah.
So they're in San Francisco Bay. So here's the next piece coming up.
Did they go to the Tonga room for tiki drinks afterwards?
Now that movie would have been great, but that would have been a cool one, huh?
I wonder if there's any vintage photo or vintage film out there of tiki rooms or something. I mean, that would be.
You find it. You send it to me. I'll pay for it.
I'll keep going through mine. And then this is kind of something that popped up there. Just a couple seconds. They're at a zoo or something. They got a monkey and a polar bear, a San Francisco polar bear. All right, so now we're back here. It looks like they might be.
You know what's crazy is how close they were, just through the cage right there. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's cool. It's just you're looking at the style, and I like looking at these old movies because it's like you're going back in history, man. You're kind of seeing, you know, this guy was doing this, filming this when it happened, you know. So this is probably Fisherman's Wharf somewhere. Then these are biplanes doing a flyover. A formation flyover. There's like about 4 or 5 formations of biplanes flying over, probably part of the celebration for the opening of the bridge. They're kind of blurry, kind of rough to see. And here you are. This is the beginning of the bridge. This is the south end of the bridge, and all the people waiting to go across it.
This is historic, man. This is serious.
And then there's now here they are driving their car for the first time across the Golden Gate Bridge.
This is like an early GoPro. This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. He's holding it, right? And a little Braves car's coming the other direction when they finally meet up.
Everybody needs to understand that it was a lot of money to have a camera, a movie camera back then. You had to be really loaded.
Yes. Let me turn. Oops. Stop.
Ooh, that's awesome. we just got sucked in the vortex.
Yeah. So anyhow, I thought this was cool. It's a little piece of history. It was like I love seeing this stuff and discovering this when you find this. There's a couple other scenes and a couple of the other reels of just them. They must have went back and just kept driving back and forth the bridge, you know. And he had his movie camera. They just did it a bunch of times. There's all these scenes of him driving back and forth. But yeah, the movie camera was Kodak started selling their first movie camera, 8mm camera in 1933. So this was like only like 4 years from when they first selling them, and that was an expensive thing. The other thing is kind of cool is to notice how well he operated. Most people were really shaky, and it was a bit shaky, but some of the content, you know, was kind of cool, the way he panned and the way he found stuff and all that. So a lot of times you find a lot of those movies, and Chad can probably know because he does the same. He grabs movies all the time, and some of the movies are just, you can't even watch them. It's like, it's amazing the guy spent the money for the developing, because when they get done, they're just like all bouncing all over the place. It's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Oh yeah. I've had the same thing happen when I've watched the old movies. Especially like the old training films and stuff.
Was there any indication of the person's name or what he did for a living or anything, or
I do have his name. I have his name. Actually, have his address in Lakeview, Oregon. So I just got these, and I am going to look him up, and I'm going to see what I can. He had them. What's interesting is these were sent to San Francisco. He had them made in Oregon, and they were shipped to all these are mailed to San Francisco. So it's interesting. Maybe he lived in one place, worked somewhere, or whatever. But anyhow, that's kind of a cool thing. I have the video you just saw that I showed you is on my YouTube channel. So if, I'll type my name in the chat, and you can click on that. And I think I'm in my YouTube channel is in the description down here. So you can go in there and check the whole thing out.
It's definitely everybody's YouTube channel's in the description, as well as our guest and some other Facebook groups and stuff. They're all in the description. So if anybody wants to check out stuff, you know, like Drew's always posting a bunch of collectibles. Chad's got a bunch of really cool stuff on there all the time. Jason, I don't know if you do a YouTube channel, do you?
I haven't, but I'm thinking about it because somebody even today was asking me, maybe you should do a weekly, like, little tiki chat, rum chat, something. I'm like, trying to get ready tonight. I'm like, maybe I should. I got a lot of stuff to share.
Yeah.
Definitely click on people's names over in the chat and check out their channels. Hey, Dan, Laura Lee wants to know if you can make stills off of these movies.
Yeah, you can. I've cut a couple out that I've been able to. Once I video it, I could do it. Now, I'm still playing with cameras and the frame rates, because you notice that flash, right? So basically, the frame rate on my phone goes anywhere from. I actually downloaded an app on my phone that allows you to adjust the recording frame rate so that you can sync it up with whatever you're recording. Like if you're recording off of a television screen or something like that, I can't get it to match. So I think my projector is running like it's really old, so it's running either too slow or something like that I can't sync it up. So I'm looking for a projector that you can actually adjust the frame rate on the projector itself. I know they exist. I have about 20 projectors, but none of them have that adjustment on it. So I'm trying to work it so that I can better record. On my YouTube channel, I have other videos that I picked up. Mainly, like there's Disneyland movies there's 1960 Disneyland. There's old 1950s Mardi Gras parades, things like that I found, and I try to record them and stick them over there so people can just look at them and say, hey, this is get a lot of views on those just because of people like that kind of stuff and whatever. But anyhow, if you have any questions about anything else, just let me know.
Awesome, Dan. Yeah, there's a couple of questions, little in the chat. Go ahead and throw some answers up there. Millie wanted to know about how you watch them, and you said your projectors, and
yeah,
I'm assuming they're all old school projectors, right?
Yeah, actually, if you watch my YouTube video that has this video in it, there's a preface to this video that shows you how I view my movies and how I get set up for it and everything. I have some extra information on there and a little bit about the 8mm movie and that kind of stuff. So check out the video. Check out my channel.
Yeah, for sure. Go check out Dan's channel. He's got all kinds of stuff other than it's more old stuff. It's not Tiki Dan though.
It's Dan's old stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Dan. Hey, that was freaking awesome. So, with that said, we'll slide over to Golden Finger Picker. What you got for us tonight, Chad?
Hey, I got something pretty cool, but on the note with Dan, one of my prized movies that I have is, I think I've told you before, Dan, it's just a typical family, somebody filming a family in the park. It's boring as hell, like a lot of these that we get are, and then all of a sudden it pans over and then you see the St. Louis Arch, like not even 3/4 of the way built.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So that's a really special piece because there's hardly any documentation of the St. Louis Arch during being built. I mean, there's some still photos and stuff like that, but there really isn't anything out there. And that's one of my prized possessions. It's a one of a kind, and that's what makes these things so special.
Yeah, that's neat. Very neat.
And a lot of people know Dan went and picked up a bunch of movies this week. I picked up a bunch of movies this week, and we're going to be getting together and doing like maybe Saturday or Sunday or sometime like a live hangout, and we're going to be
previewing,
actually running our movies for the first time. Like the ones I haven't really watched them, so it's going to be like the first time for us, and it's almost like for guys like us, it's like Christmas morning. I mean, it's the home movies that are really exciting, and they're not the the mass-produced ones. So, but my thing for tonight is, and some people know, this is my record that I purchased in a collection back in January of 2013, and it was actually a Beatles record. Oh, I need to do a screen share here real quick. And, okay, let me know if it comes through, okay?
You're bringing out the big guns, Chad?
Yeah. Well, actually, I was wondering what I was going to talk about tonight, and then somebody says that they'd like to hear the record story because they never really got the full story. So I'll be quick with it.
This is how Chad became famous.
Yeah, whatever. Now, I purchased a Beatles collection. I mean, I paid $400 for the collection, and there was some sealed stuff in there. And this is just the typical Sgt. Pepper's album. And I was going through it, and then there was another album. It looked the same, but it's like, hold on, this album's a little bit different. So, and if you look, it is different. If you look at like the faces of the Beatles here, and then you come down here and look at the faces, they're like totally different. It's like, what is this? So I called up one of my record collector buddies and stuff, and we were talking about it, and he goes, you know, I think I saw an article. And it was an article that Record Collector magazine put out, and they had dubbed it the rarest record album cover in the world. And what it is this is actually an overlay that they put out the year that the Beatles put this record out, and they had a Christmas party, a holiday party at the end of the year, and what they did is they superimposed, these are Capitol Record executives, okay, and there's several of them in here. What they did is they superimposed their faces over the faces of the album, and then what they did is they made it, it's called a slick, and they made a slick and put it over the regular Sgt. Pepper's album, and there was approximately 45 to 50 of them made, and they were giving them out to each person during this party of the record, because it was a celebration of the success of the record. Well, like a lot of party favors, they probably got tossed in the trash or whatever, but there was, at the time that I uncovered this one, that there was only 2 or 3 known to exist, and we had talked with one guy who owns one, and there was a big write-up about his. But what I did was, once we found out, and here's a close-up, I mean, it was such a crude thing. I mean, they like cut their faces off of a picture, and they like glued it over their pictures, and then they, in the production area, they actually made a slick, a record cover, like a, you know, a lot of the older records were done, they're called slicks, and it gets pasted over, just like they did with the Butcher cover. They recreated the slick and put it over the Dead Baby.
It's like bad Photoshop.
Yeah, bad Photoshop. And so once we found out, you know, what it was, and this is where we contacted Perry Cox, who's one of the leading authorities in Beatles authentication stuff. We ended up hand carrying it. I'm from Indiana, and I was from Indiana, and I hand carried it all to Arizona to Perry Cox's house. And this is Perry Cox here, and he was really excited. He had never held one before. He had knew of them. He had known of them, but he'd never held one. And I mean, when I took it to him, I mean, he was really excited, and it was just a great experience. And he actually authenticated it, and we decided, it took about 6 to 8 months to decide actually what we were going to do with it. So we ended up putting it up with auction, with a Heritage Auction, who does a lot of high-end stuff like this. And so it went up for auction on August 10th, 2013. It was valued at over $100,000, but ours was the first one to ever go on market, on the public market, and we ended up getting right here.
But of course, we don't talk about prices on this show, though.
Well, we're going to tonight.
I'm sorry, I think I started that. My bad.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's all right. I mean, I always
I'm just busting it. I'm just
screwing around, but
Yeah.
you just don't make it a focus because we don't want people to see this as a
No, I just like
show, you know.
I'm just busting Chad's chops.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, there's value in all this stuff because I'll tell you what, my collection wasn't free. I mean,
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, we made it to the front page of Antique Weekly magazine and newspaper, and we got 32,500 for it. So yeah, it was an awesome experience. Now I'm one of the few people in the world who can actually authenticate one of these because I actually owned one, and there is some special things about it that can't be replicated. So like if one came up, I would know exactly what to look for to know if it was a counterfeit or reproduction or an original.
So you don't have a case of these from your Chinese supplier yet, Chad?
No, but I do actually have high-res photos of it. And
I was gonna say, you're also the only
coffee mugs, and
you're also the only person in the world that can make one that looks authentic.
exactly.
Now there's some other figures in the composition that are all different than the real cover. It's not just the Beatles heads.
Oh, correct.
On the real Beatles cover, there's a hand in back of Paul's head, and there was that whole, what was that? A rumor that Paul had died, and there are all these clues all over the album. And there's Aleister Crowley is pictured there, and Marilyn Monroe, and all kinds of people. But yours is quite different. There's all sorts of different faces on there.
Well, it's the actual same album cover, but they put different faces. All the record executives, what they did is they put their faces over somebody's face in the crowd. I mean, it's the same cover, it's just different faces. They superimpose their face over the older stuff. So
cool.
But yeah, that's mine.
What a score. Well, how are you going to do that to me? That's a tough act to follow.
Well, you got no choice now, Drew.
Wait, I'll have to burn my ukulele and do it.
Just turn your camera back on.
I'll have to burn
we're on to you.
I'll have to do a ukulele burning sacrifice, so I blow him out of the water like Jimi Hendrix blew the Who out of the water at Monterey in 1967. All right, no, that's cool. I am not going to be able to top that, but hey, just wanted to tell you, it's Tiki night, so thought I'd bring out the Hilo vintage ukulele. And this is a nice one, made out of mahogany, I think. Pretty nice. Got good sound to it. I don't play, so. Moving on.
Where's your camera at, Drew?
What's
Drew,
that?
we don't see you, buddy.
Your camera's off.
What?
Your camera's off.
All we can see is your ugly mug.
The fan's on and the camera's off.
Can you see me?
No.
We see a picture of you wearing a beret. That's what we see.
Hit the camera button.
That shouldn't be that way.
Hit your camera button. See if you muted your blanked your camera.
Oh, it's.
There we go. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that.
Oh, you changed.
He's got his Hawaiian shirt on now.
It's like a magic show tonight.
Yes, did you see that? I had to get in my Tiki outfit.
I love it.
My Panama hat, my silk Tiki shirt. And this does have some cool bamboo on it, so I think, does that qualify Tiki?
Hey.
Oh, absolutely. I love it.
I'm new. I am new to the Tommy Bahama and the silk shirt, so I got a quick question. Only because I noticed it on Drew's shirt there. And Drew, what kind of shirt is that?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I should have looked at the tag. I don't know.
Navy shirt.
Well, only because I got a Jamaican Jacks on, or Jamaica Jacks. But my Tommy Bahamas, they all have that little loop on the left lapel.
Yeah.
What is the significance behind that? Does anybody know?
For some reason, if you ever wanted to button up your shirt all the way to the top, there you go.
Yeah, it's a button. Yeah.
But if you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and I don't care the brand, if you button it to the top or tuck it in, I will punch you in the throat.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty fat man. I'm not buttoning. Yeah, Drew. Mine doesn't even get close.
Right.
I need a piece of string between it.
So let me do that again. Here's a vintage Hilo ukulele. probably, you know, mahogany. Nice sound. I like that. Next, we'll stay with the theme of the drinking and the bar scene. This is a very cool thing. I probably showed this before, but it falls in line with what we're talking about tonight. This is from Nassau, Bahamas. Now tell me, does the Bahamas, would that no, would that be more islandy?
Well, here's the deal. It's really weird. So all the tiki bars are Polynesian based, so that's the west side of the ocean. But all the rum comes from the Caribbean, so it does all meld together.
Ah, so this is a nice little fold-out from Dirty Dick's. I love the name. And this was produced in the Second World War, I think, or after it. And it gives a little instruction of all the little areas where you could go and drink at this place. And it's just a nice piece of island kind of bar memorabilia. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that is an awesome piece.
Yeah. Now we'll go to some of my scrapbook stuff, which I've gotten a couple of great scrapbooks, I've told you, from Hawaii around the time of summer of the Second World War and then summer after that. This is a bunch of people having fun. Is that focusing?
Yeah, back it up a little bit. There you go.
So this is a bunch of people on this kind of, I don't know, like outrigger canoe or whatever. I don't see the out part, but they look like they're enjoying a little ride, like they paid somebody to go on this little tiki ride, and they all have Hawaiian leis around themselves. They're probably newlyweds or something, having a good time. That's pretty cool. And then, so there's a whole series of those. That seems to be from the late 40s, early 50s maybe. And then this goes back to the Second World War. Now these photos are kind of blurry to begin with, so they're not going to be tight. But there's a whole bunch of Hawaiian men posing for a photograph. Some that are standing in their tonka or whatever, their tonga or whatever they call that little skirt. And some little Hawaiian boys. These are all shot from some GI, bringing these back, you know, his memories of the island. And these little kids are cool, man. They're posing for a little picture. And then here's a traditional, this is very cool. I don't think you'll see this very many places, but it's this huge bamboo-style hut of some sort, you know, like a large structure, all using bamboo and palm fronds. Not too clear, but. And then finally, ending up on this one, I really like this one. Just so, like, iconic. This young Polynesian boy posing for a photograph. Very cool. You guys see that pretty well?
I'm just amazed about, you know, more or less, like Dan had, you know, some somewhat tiki related stuff. You've got tiki related stuff. It's almost like everybody's got a little bit of tiki in their
yeah,
home, you know?
I had to pull that out because I had to figure out how it was going to fit into the show very well. And then ending up on this, which has nothing to do with tiki, but I found this at the thrift store today. And I liked it as a nice little, like, Italian greyhound ceramic sculpture. And it's in great condition. And it was interesting because he had a hole right here in the front. And I thought it was for a pen. I thought it was a pen holder like that. But I actually think when I looked more deeply inside here, I think this might be an inkwell.
Huh.
And somebody filled it up with ink right there, and it would sit on your desk, and maybe there was a little cork that went in there, I'm not sure. But
Well,
you know,
how far back does greyhounds and racing go?
Well, the dog, I don't really know that, but the dog breed has been around for a long time. I don't know if that is an issue with this, but Just a very nice example. No breaks. Usually this head would have been broken off right here, or there would be more breaks. Here's the bottom of it.
Yeah.
It's got some nice crazing and some cracking, which probably meant that there was liquid in here, because when you leave liquid in a vase of some sort, you get this little cracking when it's really old like this from the 40s or 50s.
Right. See, I would be led to believe that that was a pen holder only because I've seen like Japanese pieces and stuff like that of similar style cats, dogs for like letter holders and stuff like that. So I would believe that that would be a desk piece.
It could be, but you know what I looked at it was, if they had really meant for it to be just a pen holder, they wouldn't make all this hollowed out in here. All this is hollowed out, this whole cavity is meant to hold something in there.
Yeah. Did you you hit it with a flashlight and look inside?
No, but it looks black. I'd say that to me that looks like ink in there. But I'll do some more. I'll do some more digging on it. But
that's a cool piece, though. I mean, it's really refined.
Yeah, very nice. You know, usually you find this junky. You know, not junky, but even the Japan stuff is pretty good. But I don't know where this is from. Nice blue color here. And a nice little line of gold around there.
Huh.
Anyway, pretty cool. Yeah. Cheap too.
Hey, that's the name of the collecting game. Well, and thank you, Drew. And I don't have much tonight, so it's going to be nice and short. I did pick up a nice Jamaica Jacks silk shirt today, so my wife, lovely wife, washed it for me before the show so I could wear it. But
she washed the silk shirt.
What's that? Hey man, I'm a realist. It can be washed. It's all right. Still looks good. You know, I wear my silk shirts. They're not part of my collection. They're just part of the wardrobe. You know. But hey, just keeping with the theme. You know. But I also picked up the my new official CATACOMB mug. I grabbed this off of eBay only because it attracted me to it, and we were talking all this Tiki stuff. So.
Can I see the bottom?
This is it is an Orchids of Hawaii.
Orchids
of Hawaii.
Nice.
Sorry, I read too many dark and stormies tonight.
I know. That's a nice mug.
But unfortunately, this is the second one I bought. The first one got dropped by the seller. So I didn't receive it. But so that one actually was you know, I mean, mint condition. This one has a little chip in it. But I bought it more or less just to keep up with the CATACOMB theme. I just thought it was really cool that it was a nice, real looking skull. So.
And that is a Tiki mug. So there you go. Another mug that does not look like Tiki, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I just thought it was cool. So that's one of those things. So now I'll sit on my desk for the collector's CATACOMB. I'll wash it up and maybe I'll drink my cocktails out of it now. But so that's about it for our show tonight. I do want to mention a few things. I want to mention the Facebook groups, obviously Thrifting with the Boys, you know, Jason Smith's group. I want to mention the Reseller Society, also the Collector's CATACOMB group. Go ahead and join it. That's the best place to get information on what's going on with us. Go check out the Green Room, another great group. They just awesome guys to learn from and stuff. And then the forum, the sourcingforum.com, the forum I started. Go check it out. It's still slow moving, but we're getting there. Allied Militaria forum if you're into Allied Militaria. And then other than that, the shows we got this week. We're going to have Toadcast tomorrow night. We have is Picker's Church on Sunday, Chad?
Yes, it is. 2 o'clock Central Time.
Hey, there we go. Picker's Church on Sunday. We got our show Sunday night, Chris.
Yep.
All right, our show Sunday night. We got Profit Talk on Monday night. Green Room Hangouts usually on Tuesday night. We're going to have a meet and greet next Wednesday as well.
Absolutely, 8 o'clock Central Time.
Awesome. So we got a meet and greet next Wednesday, and then we'll have the Collector's Catacomb again. I believe we're going to have Drew talking about a massive gold find. Something about buried treasure and pirates, Captain Hook, I don't know. Something crazy. So tune in for next Thursday to talk about buried treasure. And that's about it. Go check out the links at the bottom of this. Also, remember that we got the giveaway. So make a comment. Make a comment on the video after this is off the air and get yourself entered into that giveaway. I'm going to cut it off at midnight Wednesday night. Thursday morning, I'll wake up, pick the 2 winners that we're going to have for a vintage Tiki mug and for a Denison glass, and announce those on the Collector's Catacomb Thursday night, 9:30 East Coast time every week.
Hey.
Until next time, have a good night. Enjoy your Mai Tais.